Year for you, but another new group. So, how hard is it sort of to put together so many different pieces each year?
Well, we did it in about 18 days, so
Yeah.
it just depends on which way you look at it. But we did bring in 11 players, I think, in an 18-day period, and signed 10 of them. So it was hot and heavy. That was a little hectic, a little stressful, in certain situations. But really liked the group we had. We set out to with some goals, I guess, in mind, and obviously these players we felt really comfortable with, and in the recruiting process, and then throughout the summer so far. We're about to finish our fourth week. They've kind of lived up to everything that we thought they would.
Turning back to that, you had the success, but coming into it, you had one player on your roster up to that point when you got all those players. A little concerning. Obviously, you'd probably like to have more of those people in the bank before you put it together, but it worked out for you.
Yeah, it did work out. It worked out great. We feel really good about it. Yeah, when you're going through it, you don't know. I mean, there's just too many unknowns. We have the two kids coming back. We thought we had a couple more that were going to come back initially, and then made some decisions to go a different direction. And then, literally though, we had a kid leave, and I think 48 hours we had another kid on campus and committed. So that's literally how quickly the process goes. But I think we've got versatility. We can defend. We're multiple position type players. So far it's been really good.
Did the success open the door?
I would hope so. I would think so. I think being in the NCAA tournament, obviously hosting, what I've said is I think we're checking all the boxes now from a recruiting standpoint, what they're looking for. Oh, I want to play in a winning program. Great. Check, right? I want to play in front of fans. Check. I want to be coached. Check. I want to have, do you produce pros? Oh, yeah, Jordan Harrison and J.J. Quinterly were playing in the WNBA. Check. So I just think we're now checking all of the boxes, where before maybe we were checking most of the boxes, but now we're kind of checking the vast majority.
That percentage of commitments to visits seems really impressive. Do you have an idea before they visit? Is that a goal, or is it just, hey, checking all those boxes worked out really well for you this year?
Well, I think what we probably did a little differently this go around was try to check all of the boxes before they ever got here. So when they got here, there wasn't, even if it was from the NIL rev share portion to roll to film, whatever it could possibly be. We were doing it all ahead of time. So when they got here, not that it was a formality, but a lot of those discussions had been had, and we were just trying to make sure it was the perfect fit.
Coach, having the right profile is one thing, and making sure a player is the right fit is another. But what about your staff makes you guys so effective at evaluating talent before you even make the first contact?
Yeah, well, a lot of it's done way ahead of time, so it's not like, we get to a certain point and then we're scrambling right then to figure it out. We already have, maybe whether it's a list, we have a database. A lot of it, is agent-driven now, too, that you're trying to develop relationships with. And, some of it gets as simple as, we know we need a certain position. This is what we want that to look like. We can go through all of our analytics and information and find those names. Some of the kids we had prior relationships with, and then some we didn't, and it was just somebody that we thought would really, really fill in with what we lost. And so every process is a little bit different, but most of the work is done before they even enter.
How do you navigate the speed dating? There's a little bit of that going into that. How do you get through that?
Well, back in my day when I was dating, I was pretty good at it. No, I don't know that I have a great. You're just trying to prepare as much as you possibly can ahead of time, But you can't, because, like I've said this maybe to y'all before, but I think there was one day I had like 13 or 14 tabs open of different like spreadsheets that I was like the GM trying to. If this kid comes, changes this, and then I'd have to go to the new spreadsheet because that one doesn't. This one commits. This is what it looks like, And so it was ever changing in those 18 days, like anything I'd ever been through. But when it was over, and we had the shortened window this year too, the portal window was much shorter. So that actually was better. So it got over quicker than it had. So we were done much earlier with the roster. So I thought that actually was a good move, although it created a lot of chaos for those 18 days.
Mark, it's been a long time since he's coached a team without Jordan Harrison. How much does that change you? What have you had to do different?
Yeah, a lot. Just looking out here every day, and a little crutch isn't hanging around every day. Jordan was phenomenal. We grew so much together in our 4 years, but that's what happens. That's natural. It's not the first time we've, graduated a point guard that we've had to fill. So we'll find a new one that can fill that role. They won't ever be Jordan Harrison. They'll be different than that, but we'll figure it out. We always have, and I think we got a lot of options.
The 5-for-5 rule that's now going into effect, how does that impact recruiting, impact roster of the future? I mean, it's so quick it just happened, but What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
on
no, it's conversations we're already having. Had one of them yesterday with one of our seniors that we'll be able to use the fifth year. So I think we have 6 seniors, 3 of which could use the fifth year if they chose. So we need, again, they may not know right now really what they're going to do, but if they do, that would certainly help. Because we're in the middle of the summer, which is prime recruiting for the 2027 high school graduates. I think for them, and I have a daughter who's in that class, like that changes significantly in the amount of opportunities. It will feel just like the COVID year all over again when those kids late got the year back. It's about the same time where we got that decision that says, they get the extra year. So, the portal will be hopping again. Our numbers came down a little bit this year from the year before, and now they're just about to go right back up. So, there's strategy to it. It's something we talked about as soon as we heard officially that it was going to come, but it was all trending that it was going to pass anyway.
Heard a lot of the new players talk about breaking bad habits. What goes into breaking bad habits?
Time, more than probably anything. But it's new system, it's new language, new terminology. They're playing fast. They're dribbling on every catch. There's certain things that you're trying to break them of that, we just don't want to play that way. But, we're also 3.5, 4 weeks into the summer, so nothing's going to change overnight. But I actually feel like we're kind of functioning at a pretty high rate right now relative to how long we've been here. And I think that's what older kids do, though, right, is they pick up on concepts much quicker than when you have a bunch of young ones that have never been taught some of these concepts. So I think the learning curve is much quicker than what it's been, but it'll take summer and even into the fall before we break all those habits.
Coach, it's already, you got like 3 months probably before the first game. How much at this point, how much do you throw on Gia Cook as far as this early portion?
I guess quite a bit, but it's just trying to get her to expand her game, maybe even, play some point, maybe a little bit more, think like a point, but still play off the ball and be the scorer that she is. And, she's battled a little injury too, so we've tried to, do some maintenance with that and let that heal. So, it's with all of them. This is the time to grow your game individually. So we do a lot of individual work in practice. Before you guys got in here today, it's at least 20 or 30 minutes every day of just straight skill work and trying to develop their individual package. If they get better individually, collectively, obviously we improve as well. So that's kind of the goal here, at least early in the summer. As the summer goes, we'll put a little more team stuff into it.
You mentioned Kaylee. How do you keep that separated from all of your work? Obviously, there's some things that are going to be different, but maybe an involvement there. So is that going to be difficult?
Good question. We're navigating it. We're trying to figure it out. It's the first time I've been through it from a parent, obviously a parent and a college basketball coach, and she's going to play at a high level and be a really good college player. So it's just trying to, really just help her and guide her. And I've stayed probably out of it more than Trish and Kaylee have, but we probably need to have some more serious discussions here pretty quick, especially with the 5-for-5 rule now. That's going to change some recruiting for every kid. And so, we got to get on it here a little sooner rather than later.
Coach, how much different is your post play this year as opposed to what you had? Not that you had good post play last year. It looks like it's going to be a lot different.
It is, it's different than anything we've had since we've been here. So, we're longer across the board. Right. Athletic. Just they can get in and out of screens. They can score multiple ways. Forbes wasn't here today. Skylar, who can, pick, pop, put it on the floor, is a tremendous player. But you saw some of the versatility of the post play. And, we can play guards because I think we just have bigger wings now, too, that could slide over and be like a 4, for us and stretch the floor. So, again, that's just the versatility. I think that's what I think we rebounded at a high rate. We had a couple possessions the other day in practice where I think we had 3 straight possessions with a block shot. I'm like, I hadn't seen that a whole lot since we didn't block a ton of shots so far in my 3 years. So I think we'll see a little bit more of, some rim protection as well.
And what's it like just having, on the roster you see 6'7" on there with Hawa? How did that?
Well, it's better when you see it on the court and it's productive. Like on the roster is one thing, but can it produce and actually help you on the floor, and those are the things that we want. So whether the 6'7", the 6'3s, there's options for me, and as a coach, that's what you want.
Your time is spent as a coach, but you're now a GM. Where's your GM training come from, and how much do you spend on roster management?
Yeah, Chat GPT. You're learning. I don't have any GM experience. That was never what I thought I was going to be doing as a coach when I got into this business 25 years ago. But you have to adapt. That's okay. Like I've used it and tried to just flip my mindset and say, hey, it's a great area I can improve. I can grow. I'm going to learn a new skill and choose to look at it that way as opposed to be bummed about it or, mad or upset that I have to become, part GM as
So
well
it's
as
a
the other
challenge.
duties. So yeah, it's been a challenge, and I've gotten better every year that we've done it. I feel like this spring was the best one that we had figured out. The hardest part is the rules just keep changing. So as soon as you figure it out, the rules change again, and then you got to kind of start all the way over. But still, it can be a fun process.
Let's say you saddle your roster with bad money. I mean, it can really set you back.
It can,
Years.
yeah. Well, there's strategies to that. I think you got to start there, and that's a philosophical approach. Is how are you going to go about putting your roster together, right? Are you paying high-end money? Are you, trying to pay half your roster, right, and then maybe not pay as much? Are you trying to spread it out? Those are all philosophical discussions that we have, and I have my thoughts that other coaches have different thoughts, and that's okay. But we've gone about it. We've had a game plan. We've had a strategy. It just always keeps changing because the rules keep changing.
Mark, there's multiple players on this team who you guys played against either last year or the year before that. As you start to install things or teach fundamentals here in the summer, do you see them kind of have like aha moments, like, that's what you all did against me last year? Did you see them kind of learn that light bulb go on?
Yeah, well, some of them got us pretty good, and that's why they're here, from that standpoint. But, yeah, I think just they seem to really enjoy it. All the things that we tried to tell them in the recruiting process are happening. I think even today to see you guys here and the amount of media that cover and can cover us and the passion that this state has for their university and the women's basketball program is coming, is coming to light. I know they've all said this. They've never been on a team with this much talent, so I think they've enjoyed having this kind of talent around them, and now it's on us to kind of piece it together. But yeah, I think I haven't been surprised in the negative way at all with any of the play. All of them have been what I thought or even exceeded probably what I was expecting on June 25th.
We had Bortis here. You haven't had many West Virginia kids on your roster. Just speak to her and what she brings to the table.
Yeah, haven't had any. So she's the first one, and I think the first in I don't remember what the year was, but it's been quite a while that we've had one here in this program. But yeah, all of that stuff, the passion, the pride that she has in her state and this university, and so many of her family members went to school here, and obviously she had a great freshman year at Duquesne. She went and did what you need to do to get the opportunity that she has now in front of her, and she still wants to get better and wants to grow her game. We know how well she shoots the basketball; it's elite. And then it's just trying to expand, a lot of the other parts of her game. But, I've told her a million times I wouldn't bet against the kid figuring it out because that's just kind of who she is, and she's always done that and found ways to win and win at a high level. So I'm sure she'll do the same thing here.
Incredibly bright talking to her. She's a really smart person, you can tell.
Well, yeah, she's extremely smart and was pre-med and then maybe going to go to pre-law, and I think she's now even just maybe going to go business, but still may end up in one of those at some point. So, yeah, she's very, very smart, very well-spoken. She'll be a great representative of our program.
Coach, what kind of jump from year 1 to year 2 have you seen from Maddie?
Yeah, no, it's significant. I met with her the other day, and it's like, I think it's just the mindset, the mental approach that you're in such a better place when you've been here a year, and you know what to expect.
Yeah.
And, she's just a sophomore, but kind of trying to be more vocal and take on a leadership role because she does know some of the expectations. That's been the challenge a little bit, is just two returners and 10 new ones and trying to teach them the ways that we do things. So we relied on Maddie quite a bit to do that.
Maddie, her profile, those players seem to transfer. And what was it that kept her here, and what do you see from her?
Yeah, I think just opportunity for her. She was committed to us. We've been committed to her from the beginning. She was a really, really good high school player that, sat behind some really good players a year ago. And I think she wanted to make sure she kind of saw this through and came and gave it another shot and felt like she maybe didn't put her best foot forward last year. And this would give her the opportunity maybe to kind of really showcase what she can do.
You mentioned earlier, you checked a lot of boxes here the last couple of years with success, and Steve Sabins mentioned that the other day, that the more boxes you check, it seems like the recruiting pitch has to change a little bit. Is that so for you, and how does the recruiting pitch change the more boxes you check?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pitch it makes it a little bit easier because they know and the boxes are already checked. We're not trying to explain why we're going to go check that box, right? No, that kind of the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. So as I've said when we got here and as we've gone through these 3 years is now I don't know about everybody, but we can talk to most recruits across the country. If you're a top 20 kid in the country, we can at least have the conversation and figure out if it's a fit or not. When I first got here, we weren't having those level of conversations, And again, they may not be fits, but we feel like we have the opportunity at least to have a conversation. People know about our program. They recognize what's going on here because of those boxes being checked. So I think the overall message stays the same, how we play, what we do, what we're about. That's not changing. That is culture. That's what defines us. It's kind of the subtleties within it that just make it almost a little easier to have the conversations because of the success.
Since the season ended, more people come up to you, on the street, in the grocery store, talk to you about the Greenbrier 5 game or the NCAA tournament games?
Well, all of them. Yeah, Big 12 championship, obviously hosting those games in the crowd, we get a ton of that. And just, 14,000 people being at that game certainly helps. And you get so many more that finally watched us play that maybe hadn't come to a game before. So you do get that. Yeah, I'm probably getting recognized more now than I was a year or two ago. And that's okay. That's what we signed up for. That's what we wanted. Greenbrier 5 does get brought up a lot. That is still a special one. So yeah, great, really memories, but those three in particular from last year stand out.
Mark, how much is the success of Jordan Harrison coming with pitching a player like Kennedy Harris, who's kind of a smaller guard, gets a lot of steals? Was her name brought up at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just in general, having small guards with JJ and Jordan, that we've had success with those in recruiting. A lot of coaches won't recruit because just lack of size. We've kind of stayed away from that or said, hey, if you can still play and produce, we know how to play small guards and how we do it. So it can be part of the pitch again, is that we've had production with them. Those two went to the WNBA. So if you want to come here and be a small guard or you are a small guard, this might be a pretty good place to come play.
Does she have a similar defensive profile to those two players who were obviously Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, she can for sure. Yeah, she's an elite defender. Nyla Wilson is an elite level defender as well when you guys get the chance to see her. But like Kennedy can get and guard, and we haven't even put the the press and those things in, but she just naturally, when you watch her, just has that instinct. But she had quite 90, I think, steals or something along those lines a year ago. So she's kind of got that in her DNA.
Coach, did you have any second thoughts at all bringing in 2 Pitt players?
We did not, not at all. And really, honestly, we had recruited Nyla quite a bit. Nyla had been on a visit, came on an official visit here. We knew her really well and her family. Devine a little bit as well. We had recruited some. Shantae wasn't Pitt, but she wanted the Canadian connection. Same thing, recruited her, went somewhere else, coaching change. So these were all mostly relationships that we had already had.
Have they caught any flack at all from the other WVU players being Pitt?
Yeah, no, not really, because probably didn't have a great experience anyway at Pitt, so there just really wasn't a lot to talk about. Right. So they were probably anxious and excited to be a part of a culture like that we have and the winning that's associated with what we do. We're not holding it against them.
Thanks, Coach.